mainly mild. I'm not that severe. But yeah, I was diagnosed with mild Asperger's, which is a form of autism, really. And I was diagnosed when I was roughly about 8 or 9 years old. I had a rough idea when I was 9, but when I found out, I was about 12 years old. She didn't want to, well, she wasn't keeping it from me in like a nasty way. She just didn't want me to be upset whilst I was at primary school, because the primary school I was at was a really good school. She didn't really want to upset me as I was coming to the end of my primary school years. So then she told me when I was about, I think it was about year 7, year 8, when I was at Harroway with you, before you came. And that was about 3 years before I knew you. Like that, because when I was at play school, I never really mixed with the other children. So I used to, either when we used to go outside in the playground, I used to run and hide under the climbing frame, or I usually used to keep myself away indoors and sit in a corner. But when I was at primary school, I never really used to talk to much people, because I either found it hard or I preferred my own company, really. And it was the same at secondary school until I'm at college. I've always gotten angry very easily when I was young. One time I got so angry, believe it or not, I almost killed someone. There was a kid. The thing is, he kept on annoying people in my class, and then one day he had a pop at me, and I gave him a couple of warnings. I said, stop. I said, stop that. And then second time I told him firmly. Third time I told him like proper, full, almost anger at him, and then in the end he just gave me a shove, and I just thought, I don't want to be pushed around, and I didn't know what to do, so my instinct was to pelt him one, and I did. But when I get angry, I don't really know my own strength, and I had an adrenaline rush in my head for almost 2.5 hours, and one of my friends came up to me and told me, after I hit him, I didn't just hit him once, I hit him an enormous amount of times, but I didn't remember it, and they said, you almost killed him. They said, do you remember that? And I said, no, I don't really remember. And I thought, at the time I was a bit of a hothead, saying, oh, you go to school to learn. But later on, recently, I only just thought back to it again, and I just think, I thought, bloody hell, I could have killed him, I could have had a criminal record, really. Just think, I'm not like that always, but it's part of growing up, really. Kids get angry and they do lash out, and it's part of testosterone, but honestly I'm not like that to any of you. I'm not like that to anyone. The only time I'm like that is when someone's really annoying me and I've had it up to here, or if they're trying to dig into me, that's when I hit back. But now, as I'm older, I'm more calm, and it takes me a long time to get angry. I'm not being offensive towards you or anything, but the way that you can do things, you can do maths and I can't, the way that is, I just think, some people might think you're an absolute wizard, but it takes them a couple of years to find out that you actually do have a tiny bit of learning needs. And when I was talking to a couple of people in my class once, I said to them, did you know I said to them, if I told you that I had learning needs, what would your reaction be? Most of them didn't say anything when I told them. They were just quite shocked, really. And later on it does get worse as you get older. There's times where I get so stressed about it. It doesn't always happen what I'm about to tell you. But when I do get stressed about it, the first thing that comes to my mind, I just think, I can't cope, and there's been times where I actually thought about killing myself if I couldn't cope with anything. And that's a true fact. But not everyone with autism thinks about killing themselves. People have different levels of it, and this is what people have got to realise, that not everyone's the same as each other. Otherwise there wouldn't be anyone who's unique as everyone else is with autism, and in a way I just think everyone has a bit of it. How I cope with it, I just either talk to other people that have it, and I know that most of my friends are actually autistic. One of them, my first friend I had, helped me cope with it because he had ADHD, and in a way he taught me how to cope with things, and he taught me how to be kind to people, and you know, and to stand up to other people, and I did. They do. My dad does, but I'm not sure how much, which is fine. You know, he may still be sussing things out now, but my uncle, who's dyslexic, he understands me quite a lot, because we can actually relate to each other, we have a lot in common, and we're two alike, and that's what I like about him. And I said no, because the thing is, I don't want a simple touch of a needle in my skin to change me. I don't want to change, and I don't want my interests or knowledge to change. Because if I was to change, I wouldn't have autism, and I wouldn't be sitting here doing this interview. You know, just be careful with who you judge. You know, people with autism, they're kind. You know, we don't hurt you. We're not rude. We're not naughty to you. We're very patient, and we are understanding people. We may not look like it. And the thing is, you know, if you want to get to know us, fine, be our friend. And the thing is, you know, if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're strong or thin, you know, if you're fat, if you're unique, if you're homosexual, if you're disabled, crippled, or if you're born deformed, or if you're, you know, if you've got any mental learning needs, you know, that doesn't matter. You know, you're always going to make it big in life. And, you know, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. And I wanted to make sure you all see this, and I wanted to start raising awareness, not